Let's start a new game of Front Office Football. The new game window can be opened from the toolbar at the top of the screen or through its button on the calendar. The most important field is at the top of the new game window. This is the league ID. It must be 8 characters in length. You can't start a new game unless this field has exactly 8 characters. When a new game begins, Front Office Football will create new folders with this name and use them to store game information. If you're interested, you can find these folders using the File Explorer, but you won't need to look there unless you're trying to move a saved game from another computer. You then enter your general manager information. Your name is just for display purposes and can be set to anything that fits in the window. You also choose a team, which must be one of the 32 teams in the league. All leagues consist of 32 teams in 8 divisions in Front Office Football. Your choice here determines which team you control when the game begins. You have 3 choices for new game options. The most popular option is to begin the game without a draft. This means your game will begin right before the first exhibition games, and all players will be assigned to teams based on the initial player file. You can also choose to begin with a preference draft or a complete draft. In a preference draft, you will fill out a form indicating which positions you find most important, as well as how you feel about experienced veterans and a few other categories. The game then drafts all the players in the league based on those preferences. In a complete draft, you will participate in a 53-round draft with the other teams and make all your selections directly. The next option is whether you want to use an alternate player file. The game comes with one player file. It's from around the middle of the 2014 season. You can use other player files, however. You can even create your own with the player file editor that comes with Front Office Football, though that is a much more involved piece of work. If you like, you can begin a game using a random new player file. This option creates a completely new set of players not based on any player file at all. In order to use this option, you must select an initial player draft, either a complete draft or a preference draft. You can choose to begin with fictional coach names or coaches from professional football. You can also choose whether or not to use the full X factor when beginning a new game. There's an article about the X factor in the game's help file, which can be accessed any time from the menu or by hitting the F1 key. The X factor increases the variability of player ratings in the new game. You can choose to play without the player personality and team chemistry features. Keep in mind that if you start a new game without this feature, you can't turn it on later. You can choose to allow the firing of general managers. This means that if you perform very badly while running your team, you might find yourself unemployed. You can also try to run a different franchise if you choose this option. Perform well and more prestigious teams might be interested. You can choose to begin with all the city economic data set identically. This option isn't all that interesting in a single-player game, but if you play the multiplayer version, many leagues prefer to start with this option. And you can choose to track the ratings history of players in this league. This allows you to access a screen with past ratings information about all players. Most people play with this option on. You can always choose to ignore this information if you'd rather judge players by past performance rather than how the scouts view their abilities. When you've decided how you want to begin your new league, tap the OK button. Front Office Football begins your new league, and you're all ready to play.